Hiya, I'm Jasper, and welcome to your video review for Star Trek Strange New Worlds. It's a Star Trek show, so as always, I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the furry, but most of the furry is probably spoilery, but there's lots of aliens and creatures and whatnot that fall into the furry category. So, moving on to the good and the bad. This television show, I think, came about because of how successful Discovery was and how successful the characters that they brought into Discovery from the Enterprise, so from kind of the original series Enterprise, but obviously new actors because the other ones are old. So it has Anson Mount as Captain Christopher Pike. It has Rebecca Romijn as number one, and then it has the Spock that we got introduced to in Star Trek Discovery. What I really liked about this season is that they fixed a lot of things that were a good attempt, like they were a good starting point in Discovery, but it's like they took that and they were like, okay, that was a really polished rough draft, but now let's fix some of that stuff for this. So some of the things that they fixed was the color on the uniforms. So in Discovery, they kind of kept the half collar look with the black over top, to I think be consistent with the Discovery-ish style uniform. But in this one, they were like, nah, fuck that. We're gonna have an actually comfortable V-neck-ish thing with an undershirt and with actual shoulder pads, which I think looks so much better. You don't have to have huge 80s style shoulder pads, but a little bit more substance to it, so it's not like you're wearing a t-shirt at work type of thing. You know what I mean? So they improved that, and then also the lighting. So I felt like in Discovery, as time went on in season 2, the lighting just got more and more dramatic, and so it wasn't super duper dark, but it was very, not very stylized, but it was a particular type of lighting that I feel kind of lends to the darker tone of that show. And in this one, up until I want to say probably the last episode of the season, they had a good job of keeping the lighting bright enough, because this is the flagship of the Federation. It's bright, it's new, it's shiny, it's nice. Yeah, no, it's not like the newest, but go with me on this. So I thought they did a good job there. And then also the characters that they swapped out for or replaced, the character with the breathing tube thing, they didn't bring her back, which was good because I didn't really feel like she was doing much. Anywho, so one of the things that was a little odd, especially if you go right from watching season 1 of Discovery and then season 2 of Discovery, and then you go right to season 1 of this show, is that they have kind of a stinger at the end of the Discovery season 2 of we're now on the Enterprise and go forth and blah blah blah. And then you go to this one and A, the lighting is very different, which is a good thing, but B, who's in what chair and where they're at and how hopeful everything is so much different. In season 2 of Discovery, Captain Pike was just yep, I've come to terms with my fate. That's a thing. I learned it from the time crystal, and that's okay. I'm going to go forth because it is what it is, and I'm going to do my thing. But then there were several bits in various episodes of Star Trek Strange New Worlds where okay, yeah, maybe he hasn't quite come to terms with it as much as there was implied in Discovery. And I'm okay with that because I think that it adds a bit more depth to his character. And then also, as somebody who isn't super attached to the exact canon for the original series, I've only seen the original series once, but because I'm not super attached to that canon, I think the exploration that they were doing with his character and his back and forth about all of that fate type stuff, I think that it was good because it made it so that you don't know for sure if they're going to stick exactly to what the TOS canon timeline was. So I thought that they did a good job with that here. So I really enjoyed this season. I thought that it was great to focus on Captain Pike, and he just has such a phenomenal screen presence. And then they also fixed Una's hair. I realized in the Discovery one they were really trying to be yeah, see, we're being faithful to the original series hairstyle. But I definitely like the changes that they made to that, and then to the ship in general. So I really like all of the actors and actresses that they chose for the main cast in this one, especially Ortegas. I'm such a fan of Ortegas. She is awesome, and yeah, that's kind of all I have for the spoiler-free review. What I will say, one last thing, is that if you liked 90s Star Trek, but want it updated for today's CGI and for kind of today's pacing and style of camera work and exterior shots and whatnot, that this is really, really good at that. If you want pure 90s Star Trek, but with more humor and lampshading of 90s Star Trek, then for sure, check out the Orville. Orville Season 1 really leans on the, like, lampshading and, like, making fun of Star Trek in a very Galaxy Quest, like we love Star Trek sort of way. But Season 2 and 3 for Orville also gets, it gets less jokey and less of that, so some people enjoy that more, some people don't, but that is like pure 90s Star Trek in how it's shot and how the exteriors are and everything else. This is, I think, the appropriate evolution of 90s Star Trek, whereas Discovery Season 1 was, again, the rewatch made me like it a lot more, but it is not the same style Star Trek. It is, I'm going to call it the, like, 2020s or the 10s, the 2010s. It doesn't have a great ring to it, but the 2010s Star Trek that Discovery and Picard kind of went on, and each have their positive aspects to it. But this is much more in line with, like, hey, we have an episode that has beginning, middle, and end, and generally solves the problem. There is some storyline carryover, like I said, a bit more than the 90s, because 90s it was like straight up serialization, so you just had the single episodes and they couldn't relate to each other pretty much at all. You could watch episode from season 1 or the middle of season 4 and still have the same characters and the same blah blah blah. This one, not quite that level, but still pretty good. I will say that, like, the daughter thing, I wonder if they just couldn't figure out what to do, or if that was always planned. That's the one thing that I will say that I kind of wonder about. But yeah, still, great show, great CGI. Anson Mount is my favorite. And I also really love Ortegas, and the whole cast. The whole cast is fantastic. Just watch this show. It is so worth it. And yeah, 2 thumbs way up. That's all I have for this one. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you at the next one. Bye.